The world in 2050.
Have you ever wondered what the world will look like in 2050? We have an answer. With the increase in population, the rising of sea levels, and many more changing factors, we can predict that our world will not be the same as today. Let's take a look at the predicted population of Australia in 2050.
Australia in 2050. The number of people living in Australia is expected to jump 60% from 23.8 million today to nearly 38 million by 2050. Sydney and Melbourne's populations are projected to explode by 80% to reach almost 7.7 million residents each. This means that we will have to find the room and resources to accommodate 14 million extra residents by the middle of this century.
Now let's take a closer look at the population in Melbourne. According to this scatter plot created, we can see that Melbourne is now at a current population of 4.8 million. In 2050, our population will have grown to approximately 7 million. Through population growth comes many factors, both negative and positive. The population is growing because of migration and slightly due to the fact of babies being born. We can recognise that the population plays a role in our contribution to pollution, climate change, and emissions being burnt.
The global sea level has been rising over the past century, and the rate has increased in recent decades. Two major causes of the global rise in the sea levels are thermal expansion caused by the warming of the ocean and the increased melting of ice-based lands such as glaciers and ice sheets.
So, you've heard of a little something called global climate change and how it's causing the sea level to rise. And chances are, you've been told or imagined ice caps and glaciers, like those that cover most of Greenland and Antarctica, melting away because of increased temperatures and adding their water to the sea. And while this does happen, it's only half of the story. The truth is, a major contributor to increasing sea levels comes from something called thermal expansion. Thermal expansion is the tendency for matter to change its volume in response to temperature. We've all experienced this when boiling water over the stove. As the water heats up, the particles begin to move more vigorously and in effect actually increase the volume of the water. This can also be seen with a thermometer. As the fluid inside heats up, it increases in volume and makes its way up the tube. So what happens when 1.4 billion cubic kilometers of water gets heated across the globe? The exact same thing. The particles move more and begin to take up more space, causing the ocean's volume to increase and thus rise. The same amount of water taking up more space.
From this created scatter plot, we can see that the latest measurement is 91 millimeters, and by 2050 it is estimated that our sea levels are going to rise 210 millimeters above the sea levels now.